Welcome to the Community Difference Plano. Powered by the Difference Media LLC. And hosted by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial. And sponsored by Home Smart Stars. PBJ Mortgage. Gaston Investments. Jim Thomas, Business Consulting and Funding. Diane Castle with Castle to Castle. And by Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators.
The Community Difference Plano was created to serve as a platform for local leaders and business professionals to showcase their expertise, values, and commitment to their community. Overall, the podcast aims to create a stronger sense of community in North Texas by highlighting the often overlooked or unnoticed good work being done by local leaders, businesses, and professionals.
So sit back and relax as our host, co-host, and their guests share inspirational stories, experiences, thoughts and insights about being a professional, along with the opportunities for our businesses to serve our communities in very special ways. Because the Community Difference Plano starts now.
Well, good morning. Welcome to the Community Difference Plano. I'm your host, Nathan Smith. I am excited to be here this morning. It is the first show of March. Hopefully you had a great Texas Independence Day on the 2nd. Today is actually Alamo Day. Remember the Alamo. So if you're listening from not Texas, you probably don't really care, but we do. And we like to celebrate this, of course. We'll talk a little bit more about this in our later segment, but the big Texas Forever Fest, which celebrates Texas independence, probably the biggest one around, is coming up in Plano Saturday the 24th from 11 to 6. All kinds of vendors, etc. And we just couldn't be more excited for that. I will take a moment and introduce myself. I am Nathan Smith. My biggest passion, of course, is bringing people from the corporate world into a life of entrepreneurship. We have a financial brokerage where we teach, license, and help people take that next step to move out of the corporate world and do something where they can take their time and money into their own hands. But enough about me. I want to introduce our first co-host today, Jacqueline Crider, a native of Texas, 20 years in the lending space with PBJ Mortgage. Jacqueline, good morning to you.
Good morning, Nathan. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Is the question.
Oh, man, my allergies are trying to kill me. For those of you who don't live in Texas, or those of you who do, you know how bad the allergies can be. So I apologize. I'll do my best to sound okay for us.
Well, you look good. Your lighting's good. You're dressed nice. That's perfect. So, well, I don't know what it is about allergies. I think the older I get, the worse my allergies. So I'm not sure why that is, but that seems to be something that's happening. So,
well, anything that grows outside, I'm pretty much allergic to. So we're rolling into spring, and in Texas, unlike other places where you guys are maybe still dealing with snow, we are not. It is warm here in Texas. So, spring has definitely sprung here. And so all the pollen has as well. So here we are, allergy central, but that's okay.
That Dan Hall is 100% right. And so we decided to plant a garden this year, which I'm excited about, but it probably isn't helping. I don't know if it's helping or hurting my allergies. So we'll go from there. Now I want to bring on our other co-host today, really just a great guru, not only of business in general, but specifically in the fitness industry, owner of FM Consulting, Jim Thomas. He's been the well-known founder and president of Fitness Management USA for a long time, and really just a wealth of knowledge, all things business, entrepreneurship. Jim, good morning to you, sir.
Hey, good morning. Great to be here. Looking forward to the show.
Well, we are glad you're here, always on the first of the month. I love your tagline. I talk about every time: when the going gets tough, the smart get help. Jim asked a question, and I hope I don't steal your thunder for later in the show, maybe. But my favorite thing you've ever said, and it's so true, and I think I probably heard a couple other people say this too. But when you're talking with somebody and giving them advice, the first thing you ask them is, "Are you ready to make a change?" Because if you're tough and you're willing to go through adversity, but you're also smart, means you probably can't do it on your own. You're going to need some good advice. And when you're ready to do so, right, then and you don't have to beat your wits in, I guess. You just need to say, hey, things need to change. And so I love that you say that. I think that's very, very good. And it weeds out the people that are actually serious about doing something different or making the adjustment they need to make. Would you agree with that?
Oh, what's funny about it, because I'll kind of give you just a quick example, is like inside the gym environment, which, I'm on the business side, but inside that gym environment, and maybe all of us have probably said it at one time or another, they'll ask you, well, hey, what kind of goals do you have? Well, I want to do this, I want to do this, and I want to do this. You know what the common answer is? It's anywhere from 1 year to all my life. We've been thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. And that whole procrastination, boy, that costs money, because, it costs to do it, but also costs not to do it.
Well, one thing that people think about their whole life is, hey, where do you want to take that big vacation, that travel? Where have you not seen? Why are you putting it off? Our next guest, our first guest today, can help you actually make that a reality. Lauren Gill with My Live Love Travel, Plano native, longtime resident of the area. Lauren, good morning to you. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great. How are you? Thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure. Super glad that you're here. There's a lot, you do a lot of different things. You've been in a number of different arenas, but other than just, loving to go places, how did you find yourself in the travel industry?
I do love to travel, obviously. And I don't know. I feel like experiences are something that nobody can ever take that away from you. Your memories, the experiences that you share with others that mean a lot to you in life. And to be able to have the opportunity to curate those experiences for other people is just really meaningful. We live in a pretty affluent area and can have all the things, but I think experiences are more important than the things that we could, buy that are material.
100%. And speaking of experiences, one of the best experiences for a lot of people is buying their first home or buying their next home. So our next guest can help you with that. She's a real estate agent and an international speaker, author. Please welcome Ashley Massy to the show. Ashley, good morning. I think you're muted.
I'm muted. Okay.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. Obviously, you're in real estate, been there a decade, a long career, which you can learn a lot in real estate in a decade. But I want to just quickly, because we'll dive more into you in our third segment as well as our other guests. But talk about just how did you get on the international speaking stage?
Absolutely.
The circuit, if you will.
So I lived overseas for a long time. I was actually in South Korea and Germany.
Wow.
I spoke at a trade show in South Korea on the power of social media. At the time, social media was not a thing. We were just kind of up and coming with understanding how brands can utilize that. So I worked with a lot of Korean beauty brands and international beauty brands to help them target audiences in different countries, mainly the US.
That's awesome. I'd love to hear more about how you ended up over there for a while, and we can talk more about that in a little bit. You are the author of the book Fast Track Agent: Set Up for Success in Real Estate in the 90 Days, which I think a lot of real estate agents would love to do that, because sometimes it feels like 90 years. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure that's a fantastic read. And then our last guest is really just a friend, not only of our good friend Shelby Williams, Councilman Shelby Williams, but also a friend to Plano. He is the director of special projects. He informed me that most cities don't have a director of special projects, so that tells you how important Plano is and what a great piece. So I'd like to introduce Peter Braster. Peter, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning.
It is a pleasure to speak with you. We had a little bit of conversation on the phone this week, which was awesome. And I first saw Peter in doing and hosting this show. Obviously, I try to make as many connections in the city and city leadership as possible, and just keep apprised of things that are going on. And I was watching the replay of the city council meeting back in January at 1 a.m. in the morning. I think Shelby Williams posted it. I was scrolling through Facebook. I might as well watch this. And there's Peter talking about a shopping center in my area that had some importance to me. And so I said, well, I got to meet this guy. And obviously anything that we can provide our listeners, our other business owners, to help understand what's happening in Plano is obviously a big thing. So we're going to go to the first break in just a second. But Peter, just a little bit about how long you've been in leadership in Plano and maybe what you did before, if anything, before the City of Plano Special Projects Director.
Sure. So I've been with Plano 8 years as the Director of Special Projects. And before that, I was in Carrollton for about 9 years, we were really working hard on the revitalization of downtown Carrollton. So if you remember it, sort of 06, when it was Babes and not much else, a few antique shops. And what you see today is really sort of 9 years, and plus after I left, they kept going, of hard work to reimagine downtown as a place for people to gather and sort of connect. So I did that. But prior to that, I was actually a civil engineer, both in public and private practice.
Well, that's awesome. I look forward to hearing more about that. And when we come back, we're going to dive right into our What's Up Plano segment. We're going to hear a couple of updates from Lauren, and we're going to let Peter give us everything that we need to know as far as some major things that are going on. So put it on the spot, maybe not everything, but a lot of things, whatever he wants to share. No, sure, Peter. We'll be right back. Stay around right here in the Community Difference Plano.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Jim Thomas, business consultant and business funding expert, Brenda Thompson with Home Smart Stars, Sonia Lowry with Gaston Investments and Development, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, and by Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference. And now, back to the show.
Are you ready?
Because it's time for
What's Up Plano?
That's right. What's Up Plano? Probably I like all the segments, but I really love just being able to bring the value of not only just the news and events, things that are happening in Plano, but we really want to connect businesses and our listening audience with, potential job openings, things that are happening around the city, new businesses that are coming online, etc. I will say this: hopefully that everybody voted yesterday or had voted. We don't pick parties, but we do endorse being involved in the community. And of course, there was everything from your party's presidential pick to all the way down to multiple Collin County positions of note. Our friend Shelby Williams, he is going to end up being in a runoff, it looks like. So if you are a friend with him, and you'll want to find out when that is and make sure you go vote for him. All right. What Plano? Lauren Gill has a couple things to share. I'm excited to hear this, and then we'll turn it over to Peter. Lauren.
All right, so selfishly, I'm excited because Plano welcomed La La Land, which is a coffee shop that's got multiple locations, and they welcomed a location that opened on Preston Road over in that area that's got Trader Joe's and Whole Foods. La La Land's really cool because they really seek to employ and mentor kids that have been in the foster system. And I just think that's really unique and special for a business to have that focus, and their coffee is delicious. So super excited to see them in Plano. I've gone to the Addison location many times, so I get to stop by and grab a cup of Joe, and it's much closer to home.
And where was this? Give me cross sections again.
Yeah, Preston and Park.
Preston and Park. Oh, okay. Oh, right there by. Okay, I was just over there the other day.
Trader Joe's, like she said.
Yes,
like,
across from Trader Joe's.
And Carter's and all that in that division.
Okay. There's also a Chuck E. Cheese there, which probably doesn't apply to anybody on this show, but except for maybe my son. So
I was going to say it does to me, but it's on the opposite side. It's not on that side of the street.
It technically does to me too, but yeah, probably not. There's too much to do on the east side of Plano. I don't venture out over there as much. So, well, thank you, Lauren. That's awesome. So make sure you guys, obviously, we like to shout out to new businesses that are opening and go patronize them. And I don't think you can have too many non-Starbucks coffee shops. So make sure that we go check them out when we get a chance. And so I want to turn it over to Peter. Peter, a lot of things are going on in Plano. I think you told me that there are 7 projects that you're working on, or that would be considered special projects. Is that right currently?
Yeah, there's 7 what we're calling transformational projects. One just got completed. That's Assembly Park. If you remember the old Plano Market Square Mall up on Spring Creek and K, were sort of at home started. That now has seen new life and office, and they've been leasing up the office, and they're actually looking for a restaurant to move into a space that they have. And they're really great company that programs is really, and the new way to do retail and office is to program the spaces. So people will come back to work or visit there. And so they do that. They have a really successful place down in Houston. And so this is the second one, and they're opening a third one in Addison. So we're really excited to have them. I mean, it's going to make a tremendous amount of difference there. Then we have sort of moving around the freeway perimeters. We have Collin Creek Mall. The first houses are up, and models should be open soon. Certainly the sales trailers are there for the 3 home builders. And so you're going to really see some real progress there. They've spent a whole long time putting everything underground because, of course, it was just empty parking lots. And so now it's a real street that you can live on. So there's a whole series of those, about 500 homes going in. And so they should probably come on the market, if not already. They're probably in pre-sale. So there's 3 great builders, Ashton Woods, Mattamy, and Brightland Homes are all doing townhouses. There's a lot of duplex townhouses and a lot of regular sort of 6 in a row kind of ones. So there's a real assortment of types and architecture. So that's really exciting. And then we have
so Jacqueline and Ashley will want to take note of that, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's camp out for just a second on that one if we can, Peter. So talk about, because Plano's been really good at putting that barrier all around that loop that used to go around the mall. So it's really hard to see what's happening. You got to climb over and look. But now there's also restaurants and shopping and stuff out there as well. Can you talk a little bit about what the whole space entails?
Sure. So the developer got a hold of all 99 acres, which is extremely rare in these kind of cases because usually there's holdouts. And the way malls were set up, everybody has veto power. So when he bought all of them, all the veto power went away, and he could do a real great development. And I think that's what's going on. So he's keeping the central hall of the old mall. So it'll be sort of an indoor main street to the whole development, air conditioned. He owns several restaurants. He's an investor in, I think, about 12. So they're all coming to the mall in the central space, which overlooks one of the new parks called Sunrise. And that one will be a program park, quite large, a little over 2 acres. And then on the other side of the mall, there'll be another park as well, and it's called Starlight, I believe. And so anyway, it'll be all connected with trails. We're connecting it to the major Chisholm Trail that runs through most of Plano on the eastern side. And so it's going to be a really connected place. We'll run buses through there, all that. It'll be a really great place to live and shop and eat. Eating is really driving success in retail right now. I mean, Lauren's excitement over La La Land is, she and about 50 people in line. Well, La La Land I've seen has like 50 people in line. So yeah, you're going to see some great things happening there. Yeah, it's taken long, but there's a lot of stuff in the ground, including over almost a 2,000 space underground parking garage. So a lot of stuff going on.
I was going to say, I can't wait to see what happens because I remember growing up going to Spring Creek Mall. We literally used to ride our bikes there. So for me, I'm like, I can't wait to see how they reimagined it. Because when they got rid of it, I kind of was like, oh, they're getting rid of Spring Creek Mall. Like, that's where I grew up, like, where mom dropped us off at, like, the mall, we had to use the payphone to call her to come pick us up. Yes, I'm dating myself, y'all.
I know. I worked at Collin Creek Mall.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a new center of town again, another real vibrant place. Hopefully as accessible as Legacy West, but I think it's just going to be, but completely different at the same time. So it's exciting.
I'm so excited for this. I feel it's one of those projects that's kind of under the radar. People like to talk about some of the other developments that are happening, and I'm like, what about Collin Creek? What about Plano? So it's really exciting.
It's a game changer for the whole corridor.
Is there a place where you can see, like, online? Is there a site that's kind of that shows the map of what it's supposed to be? Because I have not seen that yet.
Sure. If you go onto Centurion American's website, that's the developer. And search and one of the projects will pop up is Collin Creek, and they have a whole fly-throughs and all of that kind of stuff online there, as well as links to the builders.
Okay, fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And what is there what's kind of the total completion, everything done, estimated date?
That's hard to say. The homes will be, I would say, within the next 2 years. I can't imagine them. We have experts here today. I can't imagine them not selling quickly. I mean, does anybody?
No.
We need homes. Ashley and I can both tell you how badly we need homes.
Right? And so then, they do have a large number of apartments there too. Of course, those are more expensive to build and will take more time. And I don't think anybody wants to lease up 2,300 units of apartments all at once. So it'll go in phases over a number of years. But in the meantime, the retail will open and the homes will be built and some apartments will be there. And there's also even age-restricted housing. So there's a couple hundred units that are for 50 and over. I think it's 50. And so I think you'll see it's a really good mix, a really good plan. They're sticking exactly to it. There's no deviation from that. And we're just really excited to get it done. So to answer your question directly, I don't know, because it's really up to the whole thing includes all these apartments. But again, I think the housing and people living there, you'll see in the next year or so.
Well, that's a creative project. A lot of going up from the ground up. But another project that you're working on, and you've kind of seen a couple of examples, is looking at some of the older facades from our shopping centers in Plano, and looking at some opportunities to reimagine them and bring them up to the excellent standards that Plano has for its new builds. And that was what caught my attention, Peter. So you were presenting, and it was a shopping center on 14th and Jupiter, which when we talked, I guess person, the city planner said that was the worst one in Plano, which I won't argue with you on that.
I think she said that was her least favorite.
Her least favorite. Okay, well, I won't argue with that either. And what immediately for me is like, okay, because I know when we talked, it's a joint effort between some funds, some grant funds that the city has available, but then also the owner of the shopping center as well as the tenants have to all come together and decide they're going to invest in this. But my question, maybe you can help explain this for our listeners, is, if you're in that area, or maybe there's a shopping center in your area that you feel like needs, as a citizen or somebody with a voice, who should we be talking to? Who should they be talking to make some of these changes a reality over the next year or two?
Sure. I think, well, first of all, it's a whole grant program, real quick, with different types of grants to do different types of things. It's really about improving the property and adding value to the property. I mean, that's how economic development works here in Plano. But moreover, it's really about forming a partnership with the owners and operators who want to invest in their property. We're not going to be 100% financing these things. It's really about adding. If they have a budget to do X, can we add it so they can do X plus Y, right? And so we've done that in small little places in and around downtown because we had a sort of a separate funding mechanism there, and so we could do that. But this now covers the whole city. So to answer your question, peterb@plano.gov. Certainly, you have my email. You can reach me there. But reach out to most every shopping center, all the good ones anyway, will have managed by signs, and just call that number and urge them to contact the city and upgrade their property. I think shopping centers, since they're on every corner, really affects the homes that sit behind it. And the better they are, the better the value of those homes. And we see our job is to maintain value and increase it so that everybody prospers here in Plano.
I love that. So if you, again, that's a way to be proactive, whether you're a business owner in that area or because that's just a little bit east of downtown. And so a lot of older homes there, again, you heard Peter say that's a great way to increase your home value is by increasing the vitality and the accessibility and whatnot of the businesses around you. So that's definitely something that I'm going to be trying to take part in specifically for that one location. And now we've got about.
If I may, one little caveat to
go
that is that, like, the shopping center you mentioned actually has 3 different owners, so it's not an easy lift, but we'll try our best.
Well, my challenge, my task is cut out for me. So I'll look on the, and this is something too, you can look on the Collin County appraiser website. Is that correct? To find out who owns any property, any land, everything? Okay.
I believe it's ccad.org, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, perfect. So we got about 5 minutes before our break. I know that there's a Haggard Farms project and a couple of other things if you want to touch on those, and then we'll go to our break.
Sure. So the 7 are, there's Beacon Square, which really doesn't have any participation. That's out by Central Market and Walmart there off of Coit. That's a big, giant development going in by the Billingsley Company. Then we have Haggard Farm. That's a portion of the old farm there on Spring Creek and Parkwood. They're starting there. They have already an office tenant signed up for a new office building. There'll be some retail and some multifamily going in there. And then I believe there's also in the future townhomes there as well. And then going up, you have the old EDS campus, which we're trying to, the owner of that is trying to do it into pharmaceutical research and manufacture. So we're excited about that because that brings a whole nother line of business to the city, although we have some firms that do that now. And then, of course, Willow Bend. The Willow Bend zoning case just went through. We really haven't started talking to them about how we can help them. They're really sort of gathering their designs and their costs together now. But we're looking forward to doing that and reimagine that, because the one thing we don't want to happen is what happened to Collin Creek happened at Willow Bend. So if we do stuff now, it'll be better for the long term and a whole lot less expensive.
So the goal is then not necessarily to reimagine it into a whole new property, but just update and change and bring it into the 21st century a little bit more. One
of the last indoor retail malls built in America. And so it opened on 9/11 of all things. And so I think that's just not how retail and retailers they don't want to be in that space. I mean, yes, there's North Park, but that's a special case, right? It's one of the special cases in the whole country. And there's others of those.
Because of the art. The art is what makes North Park different.
Yeah, and it's family owned, and that makes the most tremendous difference, right? It's family owned and operated. And so, but my point is that retail has changed. People aren't going to those places. So those places, if they want to survive, have to change to where people want to go. And part of that is adding places to live and work, and office and restaurants and hotels and all that kind of. I don't want to use the word town center because that got sidelined a couple of years ago, but that's really what it becomes now, a new little urban village, so to speak.
Well, I think, I've always been wondering about ways to, because everything is so convenient now, but I think that we lose such a connectiveness in just getting out. Like, we can get every movie we want on demand. We can get everything shipped to our house, and that's great. I mean, that definitely shows some technology and some progress, but I totally agree. Like if something that I want, I can walk to or drive a minute to, is probably to go do that, because at the end of the day, it is that human element that we really do need. Jim, I know you had a question, then we're going to go to our break.
Yeah, in terms of these indoor malls, these indoor facilities, I know across the country, some of the thought process on this has been, this is where people go to be active. And they've made a concentrated effort in many cases. It's basketball courts, it's indoor baseball facilities, it's the trampoline parks, it's fitness facilities, and really creating that. And what's great about that, because the problem that most of those kind of places have is parking. Has that been thought about or discussed or at all?
Well, certainly at Willow Bend, they have an Equinox. I mean, it's kind of a cool gym, and they have plenty of parking garages. So I think all of that is sort of, it's all of that. What we're hearing from the marketplace is that people it's flight to experience, right? It used to be flight to there was other terms, but right now it's a flight to some experience, because while you can shop from home, and we all do, you can't experience a thing at home, like seeing other people out and about, and seeing what other people are buying or whatever you want to experience. That's why people go out to eat. That's why people go out to walk down the street, like on Legacy West. I mean, that's what that's all about, is the experience. It's the same difference in your world. During COVID, we all worked at home, but it's not as, for me, I didn't enjoy it as much as going to a gym and working out with other people, even if they annoy me.
Which some people do. So
I know you're going to break here real quick. What's the status? I know a lot of communities, the tennis courts in all these areas are all getting converted to pickleball. Is that something you're involved in?
No, but I mean, I'm not involved in it, but the city certainly is, and we are responding in kind to pickleball and tennis. I think we're looking for a place to put just purely pickleball. And we have a real champion of pickleball on city council called Julie Holmer. So believe me, we are all thinking about it.
We had her on the show last year. Yeah, she was all about it. So, and
there's a project in downtown. Yeah, there's a project in downtown that's coming. It's a mixed use. It's a pickleball centered development near the new 12th Street Silver Line station. So right off of Municipal at 13th, there's a pickleball with a restaurant kind of concept going in.
Well, guys, we're going to dive in more, get to know our guests on a more personal level when we come back. Stick around. We'll be right back to the Community Difference Plano.
And now a word from a few of our amazing sponsors that make the Difference Radio, live stream, and podcast network possible.
JP Direct Health offers affordable health insurance solutions for individuals, families, and small businesses specializing in custom coverages to fit your needs and budget. JP Direct Health offers comprehensive benefits, including PPO health plans, accident and critical illness coverage, dental and vision, health matching accounts, along with telehealth at no cost per call. Call JP Direct Health today to learn more about how we can help you protect your health and your budget.
Do you want your home or office to sparkle? Then call Elite Diamond Cleaning today. From basic cleaning to deep cleaning, and using only the highest quality cleaning products and equipment, your satisfaction is guaranteed. Our team of experienced cleaners will work quickly and efficiently to clean every nook and cranny, taking care of all the details so you don't have to. With a variety of pricing options to fit any budget, you can be sure that you are getting the best possible price. Call Elite Diamond Cleaning today at 214-300-9876 to schedule a free estimate. Your home and office is a diamond. Let us get it out of the dust.
Frisco Fighters prepare to reach new heights at Comerica Center this spring. From competitive matchups to exciting theme nights, you won't want to miss a second of the action. Join us and experience high-scoring, hard-hitting indoor football that's fun for the whole family to enjoy. Visit FriscoFighters.com for game highlights, tickets, or to reserve your spot at the Tarmac Tailgate Party. Frisco Fighters, fly with us.
Are you looking to buy a home? The process can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. With the help of a qualified loan officer like Paul Fisher, you can get the financing you need and get into your dream home. Paul Fisher, a direct local lender with Certainty Home Lending, has many years of experience helping people buy homes. He's knowledgeable, experienced, and he'll work with you to find the best loan for your needs. Contact Paul Fisher today to get started on your home buying journey. He'll help you every step of the way, so you can relax and focus on finding your dream home. Visit www.loansbyfisher.com or call 817-308-7361 to schedule a consultation with Paul. MLS number 2018111. Are you a business owner looking to grow your company? Get fast, easy financing up to $5 million with no minimum FICO score required. Apply in 60 seconds and get funded in 24 hours. Call Jim Thomas at 214-629-7223 to talk to a financing professional today. Your business's future is waiting. So don't delay. Call now and tell him that you saw him on The Difference.
And now back to the show.
Well, welcome back. We're here alongside a number of amazing guests. Can't wait to talk and speak and dive in a little more to their lives. We'll start here with Lauren. Lauren, again, good morning. Thank you for being on with us today. And I just want to start pretty simply. You know, our goal here, of course, is to connect people, business owners across Plano and even the surrounding areas as well, and really teach them the power of networking and business development. I know we say this to our co-hosts. Really, we're not really a podcast company. We utilize podcasting to help develop businesses in a number of ways, top of mind strategies and content and networking, which is really what we're doing live on air here. Because it's really one of the best mediums to do all those things. And so serving our community in that way has been something that's very exciting for us as we continue to grow these shows and have more co-hosts. Really, it's almost like a live networking on air, which is pretty cool. And so we serve our Plano community in that way. You serve the Plano community, and you've been in Plano for a long time. What originally drew you to Plano, or were you born here? Were you forced to be, and then you just loved it, or how did that work out?
That's a great question. I mean, I guess you could say forced. I was born in Washington, D.C. and grew up in Virginia. I went to high school in 3 states, so have lived in Virginia, Arizona, California, and Texas. Texas the longest. My dad actually was hired by JCPenney when they built like that big corporate space off of Legacy Road, and that's what originally brought us to Plano. So we moved to the city when, like 6 weeks before the end of my junior year of high school, and so I ended up graduating from PESH, Plano East.
Plano East, and that how Plano schools, how Plano's been around.
I'm sorry, you broke up for a second. What was the question?
I said Plano High School was the original high school. How long has Plano East been around?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I feel like PESH was relatively new when we moved, and I'm not going to like give the year because it was a long time ago. But at that point, it was only Plano.
When you graduated?
That's right. I mean, it was like 5 years ago.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But yes, PESH was relatively new when we moved to Texas. There was no Plano West at that point. And I actually lived at Custer and Legacy. So I lived closer to Plano, but I lived on the wrong side of Custer. So they bused me over to PESH.
Okay. I was going to say, I think it was like in the 90s or something that PESH came about. And then I know Plano West was early 2000s, like 99 or 2000 when it opened.
Yeah, I think it was maybe the 80s.
Now there's like 5 schools. So. Now, Ashley, I know why you do business in Plano because it's growing like crazy. But what brought you here? Well, first of all, how did you get into the profession of real estate? But then specifically, what led you to Plano and serving this community?
Sure. So I'm originally from Montana, born and raised, Billings, Montana, and went to university down in Colorado. Ended up out in Asia and Europe for a long stint, and then ended up down in Dallas. The company at the time that I was working for said I could relocate anywhere that I wanted to go in the world. And I said, send me to Texas. So I moved down to Texas.
Great decision.
Great decision. It's been so fun. So I love the Plano area. I love how quickly it's growing. It's changed a lot over the years. I've been in real estate. I haven't been in real estate for the full 10 years. I did that overseas. And I've been in real estate for just a few years now in the area. And I've just absolutely fallen in love with it. COVID kind of shifted. My job was 70% travel around the world. When COVID happened, I couldn't travel anymore. So I always knew real estate was the next thing that I was going to do. So after I found out my job would change, I got on the website to Champions and got registered to get licensed and haven't looked back. I love it.
Well, and Peter, for you, I'm going to ask you this now. You're involved in 700 different projects. So this might be a tough question for you, but what is your favorite thing about the Plano community and obviously the work and the service that you do? Really helping bring about these things that we gravitate to as citizens and business owners.
It's kind of tough to pick something, but I have to say, and this is going to sound just sort of really just silly. But the city of Plano is the best place I've ever worked, and I've been working for quite a number of years. And so it really is. And so I think that's really a reflection on what the citizens demand of the city, that they expect the best. And so it really is an amazing place to work, and the support and absolute freedom to do the right thing in the best way possible is an amazing thing. The team that we have, the executive team, there's 24 of us or something like that, is just a great group of people that is nothing but supportive and wants everybody to succeed. So I think if that is a reflective of how the city is as a whole, it's just a great thing.
Well, we talked about when we had the mayor on in the beginning of February, we talked about branding, and really the brand or part of the brand of the city of Plano always says the city of excellence. And as I see, as I talk to you and Councilman Shelby and, our friend Angela Powell, who's currently serving on the Plano School Board, and of course the mayor and others, you really do I keep finding reasons to like Plano more, which is nice. I know we're here just giving a whole love fest for Plano, but what else will we do, right? And it's good that we're not coming on here and complaining about everything. So that's obviously a good thing. So it seems that the motto, or whatever you want to call it, a city of excellence, is really top to bottom endeavor. Even listening to how, with the budget concerns of so many school districts in Texas, I'm literally, I think it was last year, we were talking to some people and just understanding how well and responsible Plano but does its budget for its school. I don't know what the right term is, but for the school system, which is not common in Texas and really across the country. So it's something that everybody has grabbed a hold of, from businesses to leaders to school board to it's really an all-encompassing. Jim, you're involved in a number of different communities, and you're not only in the fitness industry where you got your start, but just in helping businesses get stood up and going and taking advice. And we talked at the beginning, the people that are ready for a change are the ones that you're really going to work with and have success with. But a big part of what we're doing live on there, we do a lot of business development strategies. Each of our co-hosts, and Lyndon is just phenomenal at that. I think he learned a lot from you, Jim, so he'll give you some credit too. Mm-hmm. But on the air, we want to provide a lot of value too for our listeners and our guests. But people are looking to get involved locally, whether it's in Plano or community that maybe you're really listening in, they're not in Plano. But what's the first step for you? Obviously, if you're a business owner, you're going to be local. But it's more than just popping up a business and hoping something happens. What would your advice be right off the bat?
Folks that we work with, they say, well, hey, I want to go in Plano. We have one right now, I think, that we're working with. We have an NDA on it, so I can't tell you too much. But, hey, I want to go here. But the first thing that we start to do, and we do this in a collaborative manner, is the business planning part of this. And the reason we do it collaborative, A, helps keep the costs down for them, and B, it becomes an educational process, because what we want to have is when a person is ready to open, they're ready to look at that lease, they're ready to sign that lease, they're ready to start that business, you can almost ask them any question and they're ready to go. Because too many folks, let's just open it and go. And it's a recipe for failure. So we really, the planning, the budgeting of it, we really want to think all that stuff through, so that once you open, now when you have hiccups, and you will, we can easily pivot.
Well, speaking of hiccups, every business owner has things that they need to overcome. Sometimes it's seasonal, sometimes it's just starting off, sometimes it's because of COVID or something changes in the marketplace. That is none truer than the real estate world. So Ashley, Jacqueline specifically, what are some challenges that you guys encounter in your line of work, whether on the mortgage side, on the real estate side? And maybe go beyond. Obviously the market is expected to be different, so that's kind of an obvious one, but maybe something beyond that. And what have you guys done to overcome those things? I'll start with you, Ashley.
Yeah, for me, one of the biggest challenges I deal with is misinformation that clients come to me about. They look at national news headlines, they see these big national numbers, and they want to know how that's impacting them here in the DFW area. And for us, we're so local and we're so unique, and the real estate here is so unique that it's like the weather. You have to be really fine-tuned into what the numbers are in your specific pocket. Even looking around Plano, different areas have different numbers. And so just getting really, really micro on those numbers and being able to explain the economics that are in the housing market on a very base level so that people understand the supply and demand issues that we face here every day.
Jacqueline, do you concur?
Yeah, I was going to say
Jack and I talk about this a lot.
Yeah, I was going to say misinformation we deal with a lot. So the challenge is that now there's so much information out there for, so many people. And that's great because they can a little bit educate themselves to a point. But I'm really big on education, mainly because of the fact that there just is a lot of misinformation. Like something that we deal with all the time is that people move to this area and they don't understand the property tax situation. So like our property taxes can be from 1.8% to 3.2% of the house value over the DFW Metroplex. So they think that what they're qualifying for is going to be the same no matter where they buy the house. And so then I have to come in and say, okay, yes and no. So yes, like the principal and interest part of the payment, it's going to be the same on this amount of money, but the taxes is not, and it's going to make up a lot of your payment. Because in Texas, our property taxes tend to be a little higher than some other areas, mainly because, we don't have income tax here in Texas. So like people don't consider this, and then they're very confused, right? Because they have it in their mind, like they see these calculators on, Zillow or Realtor.com or wherever, and it makes the numbers look different. And so then we have to go in and like explain that that's not the case. And that's hard for a lot of customers to understand because they feel like maybe we're lying to them or not telling them the truth. And so you're sort of like dealing with this distrust situation. And so, it's really important to fully explain, fully educate them so that there can be that trust factor rebuilt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to pivot here and talk a little bit about, stories, because stories are the driving force behind what we do, right? There's usually, a lot of people have jobs and there's maybe no story to why they got that job. But when it comes to business ownership, there's something that drives us to do what we do. And hopefully it's something we love. And Lauren, you have the word love in your business title. So I'm assuming you enjoy what you do. But how, because you're spending a lot of time sending people out of Plano, but you live in Plano. So let's start with that story. How did you get into loving the travel business, other than probably traveling yourself? But how did you land here where you're at? Landing. I didn't even realize it.
That is a fun pun. I wish I could take credit for the name. I'm actually an agent with my Live Love Travel, so I don't own the agency, but it's really a pretty awesome thing. I have a wine business as well, and have always wanted to work in travel in addition, and looked online like many people do to kind of see what that would look like. And it was very daunting. There's a lot of information out there. There's different paths that people can take. There's accreditations and there's just designations, all sorts of things that made it seem very hard and challenging to try to do on my own. And just through some friends that I know in the wine industry who I saw step into this space and go to work with my Live Love Travel, I got connected with our owners, Aaron and Kevin, and we hit it off immediately. And they took me under their wings and have served as mentors and allowed me to just grow and thrive and run with it, which has been amazing.
Well, you've got two important elements. You've got the travel where you get away, but then you've got the wine, which just makes for a really good vacation. So you really have kind of a very relaxing package there for people when they need it.
You just want to let them get away, whether it's at home or on a plane.
Too bad Southwest already
stole the fun.
Too bad Southwest already stole the "want to get away" tagline, because that would have been a really good one too. But Well, we're before we go to break, we'll wrap up with Peter. And this, I've asked this question of other business owners before, but it's really appropriate for you because you have some direct participation in this, and we've talked about the projects that are going on. But you specifically, as Peter Braster, a citizen of Plano, maybe take off your director of special projects hat. What is your vision for business development in Plano continually, over the next 10 or 15 years, whether it be key industries you want to bring in or different things that we want to cultivate that maybe aren't here at this point? What would you say to that?
Yeah, so it's hard for question because I don't really focus on that. That's our economic development director, Doug McDonald, does that. What I do is I make sure they have a seamless entry into Plano as much as possible. And going back to, we talk about communication, that's half of my job is just communicating with prospective businesses on how they can easily get through the process and open up for business. And really, it's just about that. And so a lot of my day-to-day stuff is just fielding calls about where my permit is. And usually, FYI, it's with the contractor. It's not the city. And so, so it's just really, really just making sure the communication channels are open. And so that's my focus, is getting them here. And so when they do land here and they talk about being in Plano, they talk about how great it is. That's
I love that. So we'll have to have we'll have to have the city manager on, ask him the same question too at some point soon. So when we come back, guys, we're going to dive right into our topic. We had a phenomenal topic for February. Now we're transitioning to building a strong team and fostering positive workplace culture within a local business. I know we have a wealth of knowledge and experience on the call. We'll stick and come right back right here on the Community Difference Plano.
The Community Difference is a new series of shows powered by the Difference Radio live stream and podcast network. This series of shows was designed to highlight the unsung heroes that call our towns and communities home. And we wanted to create a platform that brings awareness to and reminds folks of the goodness that lives within so many of us. By working with the local community leaders, business owners, first responders, veterans, schools, and citizens who want to unite with a clear and selfless purpose, the Community Difference seeks to spotlight the people, events, and activities that are producing positive outcomes, inspirational stories, and incredible experiences. In a world that is consumed with negative press, media manipulation, and propaganda, The Difference, along with many others who believe and support The Difference, understands there is no better way to make the difference than to highlight the unsung heroes that call our towns and communities home. We are currently searching for local communities to be the focus of our shows, but before we can launch a show in your community, we need your help. We need you along with local business leaders, chambers of commerces, major nonprofits, online community group leaders, networking groups, etc., to join us in making the difference in helping your community be seen, be heard, and be remembered. So if you would like to know how you, your business, school, social media community, church, or your favorite nonprofit organization can be a part of this unique and powerful program, reach out to us today and introduce yourself and let us know how you would like to contribute and bring awareness to the amazing people, places, and events that are making the difference in the community you love. You can call us at 972-866-4596 or email us at info@thedifferenceradio.com.
And now, back to the show.
Welcome back. We're going to jump right in. And I want to start with Jim as we tackle our topic for the month because, Jim, I think early on in a business's development, it's just, hey, can I get off the ground, right? Help me get going. But once you have some employees, team members, whether you're, a broker agent model or you have W-2 employees, et cetera, workplace culture or a positive environment is crucial for mitigating turnover and just employee happiness. And it obviously, down the road, it affects all kinds of things from client relationships and the production of whatever you're doing when you're making a product or service or whatnot. So it's something to certainly pay attention to. And you usually hear the bad stories about, oh, my last job was terrible, or this, the culture was awful, the manager sucked, whatever. So how do you start figuring out? Let's start with this. What is culture? What would you say culture is? Let's start there, Jim.
How how do people see this? I mean, it's almost like a branding of your staff. We talk a lot about the culture, because the question I think a lot of business owners need to ask themselves is, why should someone want to come to work here? Particularly in this day and age. I mean, you've got folks where they can make a fair amount of money on a part-time basis or semi-part-time or whatever it might be. We have to make sure it's not just about money, because I'm sure everyone's heard the same thing, that the number one reason that good people leave a company is the boss, the person they work for. It's not just the money. So the money won't last. And what I like to see business owners do, and we have a strategy for it, but we want to create an atmosphere that allows a motivated person to act. We want to create that atmosphere. And whether that atmosphere is, hey, here's the process, here is the system that we use, and I'm going to take responsibility to follow up on that system. I look at it like it's a train going down the track, and I'm going to pat it a little bit here and pat it a little bit here and keep it going straight. But I want to offer everything I can for that person. And it doesn't mean there's not repercussions. It doesn't mean there's not consequences for non-performance. But that's in private. It's behind closed doors. We get it addressed. And when we address it from the standpoint that, hey, it's the behavior. It's not the person. The person we love. We love the person. It's, these other things we're not too fond of. And so we really spend a lot of time working on that, because I know when I first got in management, I didn't know first thing about it. And so many folks that do open a business or take over a business, they've never managed either. And we can heavily influence this. And we talk about things, you talk about culture. Why should someone want to come to work for you? Hey, we want a positive environment. We want a safe environment. And what I mean by safe is, can I come to you, Nathan, and hey, can I tell you why this isn't working for me? Can I tell you why I struggle over here, without being afraid of kind of getting screamed at because, oh, Jim, you're negative? Well, no, I have a question. And so we want that safe environment, and we want to provide things maybe you can't get other places, in terms of, in a gym business, well, you can get free childcare maybe, for the employee. So things like that.
That last thing, you want to create a process that something about motivated people. I want to make sure I get that right. I've heard you say that before. Oh yeah,
it's we want to create an environment that allows a motivated person to act. Let me give you a quick example on that, and I'll use the gym industry. I remember a number of years ago, I took over at one time. This was one of the biggest gyms in the United States, and it was flourishing and doing great, and it just got down. It was doing nothing, and they were considering closing it. And we came to an agreement. I was going to take it over as a consultant, see if we can get it turned around. And when I got in there, everybody was just kind of doing their own thing. There was no rhyme or reason for it. And so we went in there. Everything was a positive. We're going to look for something good to say. We're not looking for what's wrong. We're looking for what's good. And we created a process. Here's how you do this. And we followed up to make sure they did it. And it was amazing how quick that changed. We want to create
that makes a lot of
that allows that motivated person.
I love that. I just wrote that down because I'm thinking about, that's really the goal for our bit. I hope it is for everybody. So Lauren, when we were talking and I invited you to come on and you told you the topic, you were super excited. You're like, oh, I can speak to this. So let's talk about this. And you've got, you don't necessarily, I don't think, have employees, but you have your own business, but you spend a lot of times in culture and leadership and other roles. So talk about, for you, what does that look like to create a culture, to foster a culture within a local business, either as an employee, what you would look for, or as the owner, boss, whatever that looks like?
Yeah, so I have leadership experience leading large teams remotely. And so it's important for you to be able to build trust pretty quickly, because you're often communicating either via Zoom, you're communicating in written form. And so I think about ways to build that trust. And I think it's still applicable in face-to-face situations too, but it's leading with vulnerability. So owning mistakes, holding myself accountable just to the same degree that I hold everybody else accountable, having a culture of feedback. So being sure to ask people what their experience is like. I do that with my travel clients as well. So it's fostering that relationship and opening up those lines of communication to ensure that everybody feels like they have a voice and are a part of the experience, and then actioning on it when possible, or sharing how we're able to apply that feedback. Again, just to create that sense of ownership for that work environment, that work experience.
I mean, anytime you can make people feel a part of a process, they're collaborating, whether they're by pay scale, a subordinate or a whatever. When you see a team environment, it just, I mean, this is why sports is so powerful. And I think businesses that fail, there's a lot of reasons why businesses fail. The biggest thing is we talk all the time, it's not enough people know what they do, but if they're not a place that people want to be a part of, and they're a type of business that needs a sustaining workforce, then, man, you're just going to constantly have that turnover until something changes. Ashley, Jack, guys, Ashley, do you have a team that works with you of agents, or are you just part of a brokerage? Do you have a team that you work with also?
I do. I'm a part of a brokerage, and I'm also a team leader. So I have 2 that work with me.
Well, let me ask you this question, because this is Lyndon was sending this in the background. I think it's a great question. So you have not so much an employee, because they're a broker or agent kind of relationship there. Independent contractor, but you're leading and helping them grow. And so if you've got somebody that may have a weakness in a particular area, how do you show that, from a positive standpoint, like, here's an opportunity for growth, rather than just pointing out, hey, you suck, you should be doing this better, which obviously you would never say that, but it's still, sometimes we say the right thing and people hear the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And so we want to position our encouragement and our constructive criticism in a way that is positive. How do you go about that in your space?
Sure. So for me in real estate, I like to say it's 90% mindset is where your success is going to be in this industry. So if you're coming to the table and you're feeling really defeated, or you're feeling like you are surrounded with these weaknesses, I think the first thing you can do is flip the script and really do that inner work and that mindset work of, okay, is it really true? Like, is this really a weakness? Is this really true? And what does it mean about me? Because a lot of times we tell ourselves lies, and we can kind of get into this self-sabotaging. So for me and my business, that's been one of the best things that I've learned how to do, is to flip the script on limiting beliefs and be able to figure out, okay, if I want to move forward, if I want to see success in this, I'm not going to do it with this type of thinking.
Jacqueline, I know you work with a group as well, and you've got a number of people that kind of help you run your business. What are some examples? Maybe, obviously, you don't have to name names, but do you have an example where you have had to have a conversation and you pivoted it into something that's more about an opportunity rather than, hey, you're here, but look where you could be. Let's find a way to collaborate and move in that direction.
So that's a good question. I've managed some pretty big groups of loan officers over the course of time, and then, of course, developed some of my own people for my smaller business. And I would say that, you have to understand their personality type, the way they communicate, because each person is super different on how you come at them and how you talk to them in a way that's going to resonate with them. I agree with Ashley. A lot of it is about mindset, and a lot of it is about what they're maybe lacking skill set wise, which as a manager, a lot of times means that you haven't necessarily provided them the tools they need to be able to work effectively. So I prescribe to a very extreme ownership sort of leadership style, meaning that, yes, it is their responsibility to meet me, where I'm at, but I also want to make sure they've got the appropriate tools. So when we a lot of times talk with, through like what's going on, a lot of times I'm trying to strip back and find out what it actually is. Because a lot of times, a lot of people believe that what you're seeing on its face is what's actually causing the problem. And a lot of times it's much deeper than that. Something personal, right, that's going on at home that you need to kind of maybe help put some perspective on that might help them out. Or, like I said, could be a lack of training. Like there's not a lack of, training in that situation. So you may need to provide them some tools. or maybe it's just a bad fit. So there are people where their roles is not really aligned with who they are. Maybe they thought they could do that role, but their personality type just doesn't lean themselves to it. And I found that when people are really passionate about what they do, when they actually really want to buy into it, they're 10 times more likely to be really successful than if they're doing something they're just forcing themselves to do because it's a job, because it's about the money, because they have to pay the bills. And so kind of helping navigate as a manager of people, to find that perfect fit is also something that we need to do effectively.
Mm-hmm.
We've got 1 minute before our break here, and Peter, I'll end with you because you're coming at it not from a business owner standpoint, but from a public servant. You work for the city. You said it was the best place you've ever worked. So give me about 30 seconds on what is it specifically that stands out, and you don't have to bash other places you work, but that makes the difference there.
No, I think the big thing, and people have said that, is you just have to trust your team members. I mean, you have to trust that criticism isn't coming from the right place. Even if it isn't, you have to trust that it is. And if you feel that it's not being from the right place, you have to confront it then and there. It is about communication and keeping the lines open. And I like to approach my employees with a mentorship mindset. So I am nudging them always in the right direction and communicating with them all the time, so that I never have to do a course correction.
It's been said 1,000 times, and it's kind of an old axiom of truth, and you've probably seen it on 1,000 memes, but the people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you can kind of brush it on the bug, but think it really is true. Like, you can be much more direct and serious and not angry, but just you can speak to somebody with the amount of truth that they need to hear once you've earned that relationship. And you think, well, as a boss, there's a difference between, a coach and a boss, or a coach and a manager. You hear this in the sports world all the time. Well, this coach has lost the room, right? They don't hear him anymore. Well, he's lost the ability to communicate, right? Because they don't trust that system. It happens all the time in corporate America. All right, guys, when we're done, we're going to come right back. We're going to do a couple of rapid fire. The rules are answer the question and the question only, no long explanation. And we'll wrap. Stick around. We'll be right back.
The Community Difference Plano is made possible by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Jim Thomas, business consultant and business funding expert, Brenda Thompson with Home Smart Stars, Sonia Lowery with Gaston Investments and Development, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, and by Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference. And now,
are you ready?
Rapid fire.
All right, rapid fire. We're going to jump right in here. When you are taking a break from your business, what is your guilty pleasure? Just quick, 1 word, 2 words. We'll start with Lauren.
Crime podcasts and a glass of wine.
Amen. Ashley.
Sitting in the sunlight.
Okay. Jacqueline.
I like to cook.
Okay. Jim.
Working out.
Love it. That makes sense. Peter.
All of those.
He's stealing everybody's. I love it.
Yeah.
Mine is sitting outside with a glass of whiskey and reading a book. So that's awesome. Okay, if you could have dinner with any entrepreneur, and Peter, if you want to change it to, you can do entrepreneur, anybody you want to, doesn't matter to me, dead or alive, who would it be? Who would it be? Any entrepreneur? Jim.
Boy, I don't know if this guy's still an entrepreneur or not. He may have gone past that, but Elon Musk. I'd love to sit down with Elon Musk and have a conversation.
No argument there. Lauren.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Ashley.
Nikola Tesla.
Oh, excellent. Jacqueline.
Zig Ziglar.
Okay.
I'm going to go way back. I'm going to do John Singer Sargent, who was an artist and watercolorist, and he had an amazing life. So it'd be interesting to talk to him.
I love that. I'm going to go right now. Jordan Peterson. He's an entrepreneur by definition. We'll end with this one, and then we'll do our closeout and give everybody a chance to do a few minutes or 30 seconds close. What is, and this is might be a few extra words, but try to keep it short. What's the most rewarding aspect of running your own business, Lauren?
Time freedom and the ability to serve others, knowing that they're going to create some wonderful memories.
Ashley.
Helping others achieve their dreams of home ownership.
Jacqueline.
I would say changing lives and educating people on my terms.
Jim.
I would say two things. I say number one, helping folks save their business, which ultimately saves a lot of other things in their life, their home, other things like that. And then for me, personal freedom.
Love it. Peter, maybe not as an entrepreneur, but just a favorite thing about what you do.
I just like to see things get built. So, that's really kind of my thing.
Creativity.
So it's really fun to say, I helped get that built. So.
For me, my favorite thing about running my business is being on a track that is unlimited, meaning I can go as far as I will take myself, which is awesome. Okay, guys. Hey, thank you so much for being on. Thank you to Peter and Ashley and Lauren. What a great show we've had. We've got about 5 minutes before we close. Oh, Patrick from Facebook says, or from YouTube says, Mark Cuban. That's a great one. Obviously, we should have thought that. As an entrepreneur. Not the full majority owner of the Mavericks anymore, but we'll see. Apparently, they're trying to build a casino out in Texas. We'll see if that happens. But let's wrap it up here, guys. A couple 35 seconds. Share any thoughts you want, something that you didn't get to earlier, or just whatever you'd like to share. Lauren, we'll start with you.
Oh boy, put me on the spot.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, right. I have nothing to go off of, nobody to follow. Just thank you so much for having me on the show. I really enjoyed being a part of the conversation and the topics, and appreciate Nathan, you just thinking of me and allowing me to spend this time with y'all.
Well, we want to see you joining our co-host ranks. So we'll talk about that. We'll be for another coffee here soon, so that'll be exciting. Ashley, thank you for bringing a personality that matches Jacqueline's. That's tough to do. You have your final thoughts.
Thank you again so much for having me on. I loved it. You can find my book for brand new agents, Fast Track Agent, on Amazon. So look that up there. You can find me online at So You Want to Move, and just come and follow the home buying journeys.
I love it. Peter, thank you so much today. Just tremendous information. I know we're all curious about all the things that are happening, but you give us 30 seconds of your final thoughts.
Sure. I think, the city of Plano is a great place, and you should revel in the fact that you live here and work here.
Hey, just a simple message of gratitude. That's perfect. Jim.
I would say this to anyone who's looking to open a new business. One of the fundamental things we can help with is we can help provide funding for a pre-revenue startup. So if that's you, we can help.
Cool. Jacqueline, final word.
I was just going to say that, when you're dealing with the most large purchase of your life, you definitely want to make sure that you've got true professionals that are completely in your corner. Ashley and I are definitely those people. So if you want to get some information, we would love to help.
Well, guys, thank you so much. We will be back next week at 11:30. I will be out of town, but our Rockwall Community Difference host, Delisa, will be here. She'll be running the show, so it's going to be a phenomenal show. We'll continue our topic this month of business culture and leadership, what it takes to create the greatest culture to make your business thrive. Guys, again, thank you so much to all of our guests. It's been fantastic. You guys have a blessed week. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for watching today's show.
Community Difference Plano is made possible by Nathan Smith with Enfuego Financial, Diane Castle with Castle to Castle, connecting charities to fundraising solutions, Jim Thomas, business consultant and business funding expert, Brenda Thompson with Home Smart Stars, Sonia Lowry with Gaston Investments and Development, Tracy Duff with Assisted Living Locators, and by Jacqueline Crider with PBJ Mortgage. The Community Difference Plano. Together, we can make the difference.